Hey, welcome to Bears Banter tonight. My name is Bernard Muhammad. Tonight on the broadcast with me is Jay Beasley and Guy Moore. Tammy can't make it tonight. She's getting ready for a concert performance. You know, she's the star of this broadcast.
First
So
lady.
she's
All
doing
right,
big things.
right,
I think the performance is tomorrow in
right.
Atlanta. And Plank could not make it tonight. So it's just the three of us. Matter of fact, you know what? This is on the very first show we did. It was the three of us.
It was the
It
three of
sure
us.
was. It
Absolutely,
sure
absolutely,
was.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hey, Guy, how are you doing tonight, Guy?
Excellent, man. Fight a little cold, but I'm good to go, man. I'm amped. I'm ready. All these doggone COVID protocols, man. But let's get some football in, man.
Okay.
I know,
Hey, what
right?
about you, Jay? How you doing?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good. I can't complain. My mom came to town and surprised me last night. So,
Okay.
Put
so
your
my
hat on,
mom is
Jay.
here.
You know it's cold outside.
Right, right, right,
And
right,
I tell you
right.
right
So
now,
my
my
mom is
mom's
here,
God
so
rest her
I'm good.
soul. God rest her
I'm
soul.
good.
My
I'm
mom
good.
is not here
I'm
no
good.
more, but I just wish as a 55-year-old man and my mom, I would just die to just be happy. I'd give a couple years of my life just to be able to hear my mom say, boy, put that hat on.
Hmm.
I know, right? I know, and I can't say, you know, it's a privilege. It's a privilege, Like I say, she surprised me. I didn't know she was gonna be in town. So yeah, so I'm
Merry
good.
Christmas.
I'm
Okay.
good. Right, right.
Yeah. So your pops just went to the game with you on Sunday, right?
A couple of
Came in
Sundays
town and
ago,
went to the
yeah,
game.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Yeah.
That's all I can say, man. I'm blessed. I'm
Hey, that's a
blessed.
good thing. Hey, we're moving into the Bears play Monday night against. Well, I guess we keep our fingers crossed because we really don't know. But the Bears are scheduled to play. Let me say it like that: the Bears are scheduled to play the Minnesota Vikings on Monday night. But I'm really starting to get a feeling that the NFL may postpone this game and move it to another day. But we're gonna approach this as if they're gonna play Monday because we don't have any inside information. But
Right.
I see they've moved 3 games already, and looking at the Bears roster when we get to the injury report of the amount of players who are on the COVID list. I know our team is struggling, but I think from the list, this really doesn't give us much of a chance to really be competitive if it end up panning out like this. Because I know they give them until basically Sunday to get a positive. I mean, not positive, but a negative test. What was you about to say,
Hey,
Jay?
man. Oh, sorry.
No. I was just saying. You know, I was looking at it today. Like, do I even want to go to the game? Who's going to be playing? You know what I'm
Hey,
saying? I'm
but
like,
hey, you know what though? Like I
who's
told him
actually
off
going to be
air,
playing?
I'm on the Jay Beasley fan wagon, man. And I'm telling you, real big time, man. Right now is the time. Get some of these young dudes up in there, these young hungry dudes, because I do believe, and like I said, I could be wrong, but for what I've seen from these young guys, man, I mean, first of all, they got a lot of proof because some have been put on the practice squad, thought they should have made the squad. Their feelings a little hurt, but they hungry. You get guys. I mean, a lot of people were sitting up judging Tevin Jenkins, and I'm like, okay, you got guys, an offensive lineman that had back surgery, maybe had 2 practice games, and he come out, and yeah, his timing is off and everything, but I saw a lot of pancakes with no syrup. So why not get Thomas Graham Jr. out there? Why not get Daz Newsom? Why not get Dieter Iserland out there? Why not get some of these guys from practice squad? You 4-9, just like Jay said. Get them out there. What you gonna do? If you go 4-10, you're expected to. But if you go 5-9, now it solves a lot of problems that we have.
Okay. Hey, that's a good point, guy, as far as getting some of the younger players in this game if you play. I guess one of the hard parts you having about being in this situation is who are you giving reps to?
Yeah.
As far as, because there's so many players that's on the list and you're approaching it like if they come off the list, but I think they should be doing exactly what you're saying. Even though you can't do it with the linemen, I know there's a couple of linemen that's on there, but you got a couple of people like let's bring what's Daz Newsom. Let's bring him off the practice squad. Let's activate him. Let's get him some time. So it's a couple of other players. Let's bring up. I'm trying to think of the cornerback that they
Thomas
drafted
Graham.
out of
Thomas Graham
Thomas
Jr.
Graham.
Thomas Graham from Oregon. Let's bring him off the practice squad. So this is really what we should be doing at this point, regardless if this was not going on. We should be looking at guys that we drafted this year, because the interesting thing is when before the season started on this broadcast, me, Jay, Guy, Plank, and all us, we were very excited about the draft picks that the Bears got, and we really thought all of them would be on the active roster. It was kind of surprising that when, at the most part, is only Khalil Herbert, and Larry Baroom for a while, because Tevin Campbell, not Campbell, but Tevin Jenkins was hurt.
Can we talk for a minute?
Girl, I don't know your name.
That boy can
But
sing.
you're right though, B. You absolutely right, man. But we were high. We were all pretty high because we were. I mean, if you guys go back to the broadcast, all of us per person were like amped about these guys. The problem that I have is this: the decision makers that they had. They cut some guys. They put guys on the practice squad. And look what happens towards the end of the season. Larry Borum gets called up. Tevin comes off surgery. Kyrus Tonga comes in. Kyrus Tonga was one of the lowest draft picks. Look at him now. I mean, you filling holes, but the best part about bringing some of these young guys in here is you can't really scout them. All you have is college tape. You don't know what they're going to do on the field. So if they're actually pretty good, as we kind of believe that they may be, now you don't have any intel on them. So that's like almost like the element of surprise, man. So I just don't get it. But, I guess it's dysfunction at its finest, if you ask me.
Yeah, Jay, before we move off this topic, Jay, I want to ask you about what Guy just mentioned about some of the players, before we move on to the actual predictions of the game. In reference to some of these players, do you think it was just because these guys were not ready? I know Daz Newsom ended up having an injury early, or do you think it was just more of we need to win now and I'm just going with the veterans?
That's what it was all about. It was all about we need to win now, so we're going to play the veterans. I'm going to go back to week 1 when you had Marquise Christian as your starting nickel corner. And this dude got beat like a drum.
Yeah.
Kendall Vildor, who was a late round draft pick last year, got beat like a drum. At this point, you're 4-9, and now you scrambling. Artie Burns took over for Kendall Vildor 3 games ago, and the first pass that went his way, he got burnt for a touchdown. You're 4-9. You're 4-9. Let's see what Thomas Graham can do in our depleted secondary, because this secondary is horrible. Yeah. I got some stuff that I want to talk about. If we got enough time to talk about Jaylen Johnson, I love Jaylen Johnson.
Oh my God.
I love Jaylen Johnson because guess what? Jaylen Johnson is a real dude. He's a real dude, and he keeps it real. And his stats back up his talk. Yes. But yeah, we should see a whole lot of these guys, specifically Daz Newsom and Thomas Graham Jr., because A-Rob, as much as I love A-Rob, dude, and I'm not going to say you checked out, but you're not having the season that you thought you was going to have. And I want to see what Daz Newsom can do, because the bottom line is Daz Newsom is the future. He's a rookie. So he's going to be here at least 3 years, unless he signed a 4-year contract. He's going to be here at least 3 or 4 years. Let's see what the development with Justin Fields is going to be with a Daz Newsom and a Darnell Mooney and a Cole Kmet and a Khalil Herbert. And that's what we need to see right now. We're not going anywhere. Let's see what we got so we can move towards being a better team. And right now, playing these guys, Elijah Wilkinson, he coming off the COVID list. So what? Guess what? He ain't gonna be here next year.
No.
He ain't gonna be here next year.
No.
So
hey Jay, let's continue down this for a few more minutes. let's talk about the elephant in the room. I brought up this question a few, maybe a month and a half ago. I brought up a question about Jaylen Johnson, since you mentioned him, about him posting that he got fined. And then just 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that Jaylen Johnson said, skip. I may not be paraphrasing him right, but he said, let's skip all this rah-rah stuff, and play football. Now, this week, two things Jaylen Johnson said this week.
Yep.
One, he said, Nagy
Yep.
said that the Packers didn't do anything different in the game, and he said they did, and he
Yes, they
told
broke it
did.
down.
what they did.
Yes, they did.
Second, what he said this week is, in that I believe the same interview, he pretty much said Nagy has lost half of the locker room. So my question is, have Jaylen Johnson, since you say he keeps it real, has he been the one that's been truthful about what's going on in this team, other than Allen Robinson? I believe Allen Robinson leaked that out to his friend who, they got a podcast together. And I think that affected Allen Robinson in his last game to me. I think he kind of was just upset that the Bears management probably questioned him about that, with his friend. But that's on another note with the Allen Robinson. What you got about Jaylen Johnson, Jay?
Jaylen Johnson said half of this locker room has checked out.
Yep.
That was his quote. Half the locker room is checked out. I like Jaylen Johnson because Jaylen Johnson is like, you know what? I am the future here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the future here. This dude has given up 4 TDs the entire season. Quarterbacks have a 96.6 rating against him.
Yep.
Which is excellent. Jaylen Johnson is the future. And he's trying to let people know, like, look, this is what's happening. Half of this locker room has checked out. You got half the guys that's still here. He called out Nagy and even going back to the fine thing where he was 5 minutes late, he got fined. He said something about that. Mm-hmm. But he called out Nagy like Nagy was like, well, they didn't make no adjustment. Yes, they did. Because guess what? Jaylen Johnson was on Devontae Adams like a blanket.
Yeah, you see what they did
last Sunday night. Mm-hmm. So what did Green Bay do? They was like, okay, you know what? We need to get Jaylen Johnson. We need to get Devontae Adams off of this dude. Mm-hmm. So let's put him in motion. Let's put him in slot so we can get him. And what happened in the second half? It's called halftime adjustments. It's called halftime adjustments. And that's what Green Bay did to get Jaylen Johnson off of Devontae Adams because Devontae Adams was doing his job. Devontae Adams said earlier in the year, before the season even started, I want to be versed at playing on the outside and in the nickel. Because if I can play in the nickel, I can follow that wide receiver everywhere he goes. He wants to be that guy. And I need a coach who's going to be like, Jaylen Johnson, if you want to be that guy, we're going to make you that guy. Because Jaylen Johnson is legit.
Yeah.
Jaylen Johnson was a first-round draft pick. Had it not been for his shoulder injury, Jaylen Johnson was a first-round draft pick. Nagy, I'm sorry, not Nagy, but Pace, he saw that. He went and got him in the second round. But Jaylen Johnson is a real cornerback.
Okay. Hey, Guy, you have any thoughts on Jaylen Johnson or his comments that he made?
Yes, I do. I'm out here shaking my head, not shaking my head. No, people don't really realize how good this kid is, man. We was on his butt though about that posting that thing, but I think that he was more of a Nostradamus, so but he was a rookie. It was a rookie mistake. I mean, I thought personally he should have kept it to himself, but I guess we weren't in the locker room, didn't see the dysfunction in the locker room. So looking back at it right now, I went from I was getting on him, but I definitely got to give him a 1,000,000,000% pass on that. This kid wants to be great. Anytime Devontae Adams basically is called, you don't get no better than that.
Right. Like this dude is good.
This is a wideout. This is a WR1. This ain't just no kind of good wideout. This is a star stud. five plays on Jaylen Johnson. He made 2 completions. Nagy comes out, oh yeah, well, they didn't do anything. Jaylen Johnson basically walked down. Okay, number one, what they did is they put him in motion. Number 2, they did certain routes. Number 3, they made adjustments and we didn't. I mean, what I like about these rookies, and we were popping our collars on them. Another thing kind of segues sort of away from that. Tevin Jenkins, rookie, 2 practice games, gets hurt. I mean, 2 practices, gets his back injured, goes to surgery. He gets thrown out to the Wolves. Yeah, he had four calls on him. And I think he was a little rattled. It was his very first game, but when he was interacting, doing this thing, he was pancaking dudes. Had his head down. Your leader, Justin Fields, walked up to him and was like, dude, it happens. You should see what happened in my first game. Remember what happened in my first game? That's a leader. Jaylen Johnson is a leader. He ain't trying to be good. He wants to be good. That's the type of guy. If I'm Desai, I'm like, okay, we're going to get this dude whatever he needs. All the intel he wants. I'm going to let him pick my brain as much as he wants. I'm going to put him in the best position to succeed because he's about it. And when he talked about the locker room, if I had my eyes closed, I'd have swore he was a 10-year vet because he told it like it was. And it needed to be told, man. And it ain't about trying to dog people out or whatever it is, but he understands as a rookie, man. Look, we getting paid a whole lot of money to play a game we love. And if we going to do it, damn it, we need to be good at it. He needs to do that, and it's going to pay dividends. Trust me. Trust.
Yeah. Hey, let me go to this since we talking about Jaylen Johnson. Then, like I said, we move to the prediction. But there's some things I thought we should talk about, discuss before we get into the game, because, like I said, we're not sure if there's actually going to be a game on Monday. But
right.
Okay, and I'm thinking about some things that we said in the off season, and I said this. I pat us on the back on Bears Banter because I always say this: there's some smart people on this show that know what they're talking about. We may not have no inside intel, but I would say each one of us brings something special to this show, and that's why I love each one of you guys. What y'all do for this show. I mean, I'm like looking at like, man, Tammy and Plank need to get their butt up in here, man. It's like missing a leg.
I know,
right.
Right. But anyway, what I had a question about was, a matter of fact, this came up in the off season too, and does this play a role into something what Jaylen Johnson said? Matter of fact, I want to say I even brought this up because I saw it in the paper. Number 58 was the only defensive player that showed up to the OTAs. And I asked on this broadcast, was that a issue? And I know, most of us thought like maybe not, right? Maybe it was an issue. Maybe the defense was not as committed. That has nothing to do with their performance, but maybe they were not as committed, because if you think about it, your best players, which is Roquan Smith on defense, he was there.
Yeah.
He was there in the OTAs. I know it's volunteer workouts, but none of the other defensive players showed up. Is that already showing that there was a lack of commitment or poor leadership going on, that they did not? It's voluntarily, but you really need to be here. I'm just going to cross sports and go. I'm going to use Kobe Bryant. Kobe was the first one there, the last one there. And I heard this story. Jason Williams tell the story one time. He said, hey, he was like in his rookie year, he said they was playing the Lakers. And he said, I'm about to go get a couple of shots in at, I guess it was the Forum then. He said he goes to the Forum around 4, something like that. He gets there and he think he hits a ball dribbling. He gets in there and Kobe in there shooting. And he's like, oh man, Kobe is here. So he said he shoot about a couple of shots, and he said he looking at Kobe, and Kobe going at it like he playing somebody. He's
going
like,
hard.
Like, man, I thought I was gonna be the one up in here. Kobe playing like he playing against somebody. So he said when I leave, he said, man, that night Kobe dropped 40 on us. And he said, so I go up to him and said, hey man, Kobe, man, you was in the gym when I got there, and when I left, you was still in there, man. You was going at it like you was playing somebody. He said, man, how long you was there? He said, I went down there when I heard you come inside. And he said, what I wanted to show you that you was never going to outwork me.
Yep.
But that's leadership. That he went in and he wasn't even gonna let a guy from the other team believe he was getting in work before him. He's sitting there waiting for a guy to come in just to show him I'm gonna work you tonight. So putting it back to the Bears, I hope looking at this season that the players, even though that's volunteer workouts, that coming off of whatever they finished this year, whatever that may be, you should be ready to go. Whatever they say you could go. What you got, Jay?
It's about leadership, man. You know what I'm saying? It's about leadership. Who is the leader on this team?
I don't know.
And to me, exactly. And to me, it comes from if your coach is a leader, you tend to gravitate towards that. Like I've always said, everybody know on this show, and y'all know personally, I've always been a Matt Nagy guy because I actually thought his leadership, he was a leader of men, and he could galvanize the troops, as Stephen A. say, galvanize the troops and all of that. But lately, I found out what Matt Nagy is. He's okay when he's winning. Right. The adversity that you face when you're losing, he can't take it, which lets me know that you're not a leader of men. Your leadership shows when you can't take when you're losing to be like, okay, yeah, we losing, but we still gonna do this. We still gonna do this. His whole thing is like, I'm gonna shy away. I'm shying away from the public. Everybody, when Matt Nagy came here, everybody's whole thing was like, we finally got a coach that we can interview. The Score, ESPN, NFL Network. Their whole thing's like, oh, Matt Nagy, we can always interview him. When you're losing, that goes away. That goes away. And that lets me know that you're not a leader. You're not a leader. When you can't face it in the rough times, you're not a leader. And that's the thing.
That's like a new edition song. Can you stand the rain?
Can you stand the rain? And in this instance, can you stand the pain? Right. Can you stand the pain? Because the bottom line, last year you had a 6-game losing streak. This year you had a 5-game losing streak. You ended your losing streak last year by beating the Lions. You ended your winning streak this year by beating the Lions. Like you said a couple of weeks ago, the Bears won 4 games. 50% of their games are against the Lions.
Yeah.
Where's the leadership?
Right.
And that's the thing. The leadership.
We just started a new losing streak. Now we on a 2-game losing streak since we beat the Lions.
And guess what? We might not win another game. We might not, but the Bears might not win another game. The Giants are the only team on our schedule that we could actually probably beat.
And that ain't even a gimme.
Right.
Because you know what? Here's the deal, man. I've watched, and it transcends beyond sports. Anytime the sexiest quotes that you get in the media from your rookies, it's a problem. Jaylen Johnson out there. You listen to Justin Fields. Justin Fields sounds like he's a vet. Tevin Jenkins stood out there, and he didn't do well, but he stood up there like a grown A man. And he stood up there and took his lumps and was responsible. Anytime you got your young guys, now what I'm excited about is next year because these guys won't be rookies. And I guarantee you every last one of them. Right. And every last one of them rookies, I love their
make sure Jaylen is this is second year.
Right, this is his second year, but but he's still a young guy. He's gonna be that guy. I mean, and I believe that, and going across, like I said, transcendent sports, it rings true when a player tells you something, and like you talk about how great he is in that respect and what he does, and you stand around listening to him, and you ain't turn look at him like, oh yeah, I'm gonna tell you, perfect case in point. Chris Paul did this camp for these kids, and he basically spelled it out for him. He said, you know what? My dad worked. I saw my dad work 40 hours a week. I saw my mom work. I did this and did that. I never had a real job in my life. And you telling me you paying me to play basketball? He said, I'm gonna tell you what. nobody's gonna take my spot. Ain't none of y'all take my spot. And guess what? Can't none of y'all outwork me. And after he said it, usually when people talk like that, people are like, oh man, give me a shot. Every last one of them kids was like this. You wanna know why? Because they know. Guys that do it, they put in the work. We didn't think that we thought that our vets would be mature enough because, well, like I said back then, I said, well, you got to give them a break because this is a new thing with this COVID thing. A lot of things have been put on hold, and a lot of guys had to get their affairs in check and all that stuff, and that's fine, dandy, and I get that. But you're still a pro. You know what I'm saying? When you don't show up, the question you ask yourself is, what are they doing? Why are they not showing up? If they're not showing up for business reasons and stuff, I get that in this life things, but now you got proof in the pudding. You look up, we're a 4-9 team. And that was a good analogy, Bernard, to bring that back because now we sit back now, here it is, December 17th, and we look back and we're like, that wasn't really a good thing. But if you look at teams like these great teams like New England, bet you they vets don't take off on their first day. I bet you they did when they had Brady and them. Not Tampa Bay right now. I bet you when Tampa Bay and them popped up, just like I said, it was something that I said about Tampa Bay. I talked about him changing the culture, how them dudes is out there kicking and partying. And as soon as Tom Brady shows up at 9:30, you could call every last one of them. Guess what? They're in a room like this reading a book. The Bears cannot afford to just trick off no more because right now, I mean, we're a laughing stock, man. And to have a guy like Aaron Rodgers, when he scored that last touchdown, I'll tell you what made me angrier than anything else. It wasn't even a touchdown. It was a smirk he had on his face. And what made me even angrier is I knew there wasn't nothing we could do about it. So
Right.
vets,
To
get
bring,
to the get here, vets.
What you got, Jay?
no, I was just gonna say, Guy, just to piggyback on what you said, you just named some teams and just named some coaches. With this COVID thing going on, as much as I hate to bring it up,
Mhm.
but guess what? You ain't heard about no Patriot players tested
Nope.
positive.
No Tampa Bay players.
You ain't heard about no Tampa Bay players tested positive. Because guess what? Their leadership has told them, we in this to win this.
Yes. Don't screw it up.
Don't screw it up. Don't
Get Big
screw it
Mama to
up.
cook for you. Go do
Don't screw it
Netflix
up.
with the chill or without the chill.
You ain't got to go out to have a good time, as Jermaine Stewart back in the 80s. We don't have to take our clothes. But anyway,
Yeah. He lived around the corner from us too.
you have these teams that's not in the COVID protocol because of leadership.
Yep.
Leadership breeds championships, man.
Hmm.
And people just don't get that. They just
Yeah,
don't get it.
Hey, real
yeah.
quick before you even go,
It's
before you go to the next
very
segment, Bernard, I just want to say
yeah.
something real quick. The one interesting thing about it is I think some of these teams are the teams that's not winning, they take football for being, oh, it's fun, it's just a game and stuff like that. The teams that win, they understand that this is a job. I gotta
Right.
be ready. I gotta, so there you go.
Hey, I'd like to thank everybody who's watching us tonight on YouTube and Facebook. And if you have not subscribed, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. Matter of fact, I want to point out this week on the Packers and Bears game gave us
Yes,
our highest
yes,
views for the since we
yes,
started the show. We had
yes,
over close to 1,800 views for that show.
yes,
I love it. Love it. Let's keep it
yes,
going. Let's keep it
yes,
going. Hey, let's get to
yes.
the week number 15, Bears versus Vikings. Man, I'm gonna have to make this a little bit bigger for us. Wow. Notable injuries. We have Xavier Crawford, concussion, Andy Dalton, left hand, James Daniel, illness, Marquise Goodwin, foot. What is his name? Jakeem? I think it's
Jakeem Grant, yeah.
Hakeem.
Jakeem.
Jakeem Grant. Khalil Herbert, illness. What's that? Horstat, illness. DeAndre Houston Carson, forearm. Tevin Jenkins, illness. Cole Kmet, illness. Hold on, let me rotate us around. I believe there's some people under there. David Montgomery, illness. Jason Peterson, ankle. How you pronounce his name? Jay
Kyrus.
Kyrus Tongo,
Kyrus Tonga.
shoulder. Tonga. shoulder, and illness. Let's go over to the Vikings. We have Eric Kendricks, low back, it said lower back pain. We have Adams, what's that? Talene. It's kind
Feeling,
of hard to see.
feeling, yeah.
I'm feeling.
Ankle. We have Christian Dassault, ankle. And Jay, can you take over the next part, which is the COVID list?
Whoa.
The COVID is make it
I make
better
it big.
because make it a little bit bigger because I can't see it because you got Larry Bourne, you got Larry Brawl.
Okay, that's big as I can make it.
That's big as you can make it, and I can't
Yeah.
see it.
Okay.
I can't see
I
that,
can get it. I
man.
got you.
You got it?
Artie
Okay.
Burns, you got Artie Burns, you got Isaiah Coulter, you got go ahead, guy, take over that.
Okay, you guys, Ed Coulter's out. Mario Edwards Jr., Eddie Goldman, Joe Buniway, Eddie Jackson, Jesse James, Sam Kamara, Ryan Nall, Allen Robinson, Elijah Wilkinson. We got 12 guys on COVID, whereas over the other side, they only got Dan Chisena. Running back Alexander Madison is already ruled out for Monday's night. And wide receiver Dede Westbrook. I mean, that's crazy. That is
Now,
really crazy. I mean, we're
now
decimated.
actually, now actually, I heard a couple of guys on the injury report actually was full participants in the walkthrough today,
Yeah,
which
I
was
did too.
David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert, a lot of those guys. But they did place Andy Dalton on the COVID list, which the list that we have now is not updated because that just happened a couple of hours ago.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So
so
they
so
had
we
them for
got
general illness at first.
yeah. Isaiah Wilkerson has been taken off the COVID list, which he's probably gonna wind up starting at one of the tackle spots because Larry Borum is on the COVID list. It's just COVID is real, but the discipline needs to be so much more when it comes to these teams actually following these protocols.
Yeah, yeah. You
It's
gotta you
just
gotta have you gotta
that's just
take
my
your
thought.
protocols serious.
That's
And a
just my
lot of
thought.
these a lot of these teams got too relaxed. Obviously they got too relaxed because you got some teams with very low numbers and some teams with extremely high numbers. Let's look back at this here report again. Let's look at the what we have going on with here. Let's look at this offensive ranking. Let me put my glasses on. Maybe I can see this, even though it's small.
I get you. I'm
Offensive
close
ranking.
by.
The Bears are ranked 31st on offense. They dropped the notch from 30 last week, even though they scored more points. The only team that is two teams that score less points than the Bears. That is Jacksonville Jaguars,
Mhm.
and there's one other team that scores lower than
The
the Bears.
Jets,
The
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 Jets.
Jets.
Those
Jets.
are the two teams. They both average about 15 points a game. The Bears average 17.8 points a game. The Bears rush for an average 126 yards per game. Passing yards per game is 176.5. The Vikings offense ranked fourth. They average 27.5 per game. Rushing yards per game is 123. Average passing yards per game for the Vikings is 267. The Bears defense ranked ninth. They allow 22.5 points per game. Rushing, they allow 120 yards in rushing per game, and they allow 216.5 passing yards per game. The Vikings defense ranked 29th, which that henceforth their record is mostly because their defense keep giving up too many points. They allow 25.6 points per game, and they allow 129.5 points a game, and they allow 251.9 passing yards per game. That's an interesting stat there because the way that if you look at the Vikings offensive production and their defensive points allowed, I believe that number was what? Let me go back to it. Was this barely a point difference? 25, yeah, about a point and a half difference of the
Mhm.
amount of points that they score and the amount of points that they give up. So this is really a team that you could beat them by outscoring them. But we'll get to that part in the prediction part about that part about that's the problem with this team because I believe they're 6-5 and the Bears are 4-6. And if you look at it, they still, some of these graphics they show the Vikings still in the hunt, whatever that means at this point. But technically, I guess they're not that many actual games out, so they're still in the hunt. What you got, Jay? I seen you. I'd like you about to say something.
Yeah, the Vikings still in the hunt, and I can't. I don't know exactly what their record is. I think they 6-6 and something, but I don't know what exactly their record is. But their defense is legit. They number they number one in sacks. They got 41 sacks on the season. The Bears have given up 42 sacks this season.
They're
So,
6-7, Jay.
okay. They're
Right.
67. They number one in sacks. They have 41 sacks on the season. The Bears have given up 42 sacks on the season. We, in order to win this game, which we'll get down to the predictions, is they give up 4.7 yards per carry. Last week the Bears ran the ball 10 times, which is not going to get it done. So yeah, the Vikings did this game is a tale of two teams. Who's going to come to play? The Vikings have something to play for. The Bears really don't have nothing to play for. So we'll see who motivated and who not.
Okay.
Facts.
Yeah, Jay, since you're on that, the Bears to win this game, the Bears are going to have to run this ball. The Bears, one thing what we could say consistently about the Bears this year as we watch them is we get a lot of question marks, and I know we kind of joke about you, Jay, what I don't know, and sometimes I say it a lot, but what we do know about the Bears is we don't know anything about them, right? We don't know who's the leaders on this team. We don't know what their identity is. But
Who's
you know
who in the
what?
zoo?
Right. Their identity is clear as far as their running team, but they don't want to be a running team.
Who's who in the zoo?
Right.
Who in the zoo?
So the Bears, and looking at this game, you're gonna have may have Larry Borum out. You're gonna have a couple of more issues on the offensive line. You got a team that you could run against.
And the biggest
Run
thing,
the ball. Run the ball.
and
Jay.
the biggest thing about this game, is all our coordinators out. They might be out. So
It's Nagy time.
guess who called the plays?
Nagy. Oh, no Chipotle menu for you this week.
Guess who called the plays? If
Unless
Nagy
they got-
called the plays,
they
Justin
need to put
Fields
your
might
boy
have
Lays on
41
Zoom.
attempts.
Not
Justin
if Nagy
Fields might
calling
have
plays,
40
the Lays
attempts.
not be the game he's on. Yeah, they need to put Lays on Zoom. They really need. But you know what? Something that just totally just drives me nuts. And I got to go back to another sport to get some people to understand. The most boringest basketball team I've seen was the Utah Jazz. They used to run that pick and roll, pick and pop, pick and roll, pick and pop, pick and roll, pick and pop. But it worked because you know why? The whole onus of doing something is you keep doing it till somebody shows you to stop.
it.
How does David Montgomery rip off 12 yards and when the ball is down, he gets up and they take him and put him on the sideline? I'm like, what? I mean, that running is one thing, but I mean, look at all these teams. I mean, they may seem some of the boringest teams you look at was like, man, why do you keep running that same play? Well, the other teams show they can't stop it, and we getting yards. We'll make a great play, like a great running play, and then we'll do something stupid, and then we'll throw a pass to the four curls. I just don't get it, man.
Okay, so Tammy is not on the broadcast tonight, so I didn't get it. She usually presents the Facebook predictions from the Facebook group. I don't have that with me tonight. I didn't get a chance to get it from her, so I'm sorry we're not going to be able to go over that part. But hey, let's look at where we at as far as a broadcast. We got Guy at 9-4. Quick, I still didn't fix that.
He's
Quick
9-4 too.
I'm 8-5. Jay 8-5. Tammy 5-8, and Plank is 4-9. Now let's get to the predictions of this game. Man, I haven't. It is
going first tonight, B.
Yeah, I go first. If everything stayed as it is, You know what? I think this is one of the times that we may have to have a kind of caveat.
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 If all those players and the coaches, because you're looking at the defense, you're looking at the size out, Bill Lazor's out, and I can't think of the special teams coach name. What's his name?
Chris Tabor.
Chris Taylor,
Tabor.
yeah.
Saban. So right now, all three of those coordinators are on the COVID list. If everything stands the same as it was Monday, if it's all the same, I can't see the Bears being able to win and just be more so because they just so undermanned. Unless they go out there like the New England Patriots and just be out of character and hey, get a ball to Montgomery Wright 4 times in a row. Khalil Herbert 5 times to the left, 5 times to the left, dive, outside, pitch. That's the only way I can see they will win if everything stands today, from Monday as it is today. So with that said, I'm gonna have to go off the information we currently have today, and I say Nagy is too much of a narcissist to just stick with a running game. He's gonna come out there and want to pass, and so I'm gonna say the Bears is going to lose this game 31-17.
Wow.
Silence.
Right. I'm like,
No Thanos gloves were used during this segment.
Hey, nobody said that.
Who next?
I am. I am. Well, I'm gonna tell you this. The Vikings quarterback is Kirk Cousins. I'm picking the Bears to actually win this game. I'm picking the Bears to win this game. 27-24. Dalvin Cook has not solved the Bears defense since he's been in Minnesota. And I wanted to look it up before I came on the show. But I actually think Nagy has not lost to the Vikings, and if he has, it's only been like one time, something like that. So I'm actually picking the Bears to win this game, even with all the injuries, the COVID protocols. We don't know what the protocols are going to be by the time Monday night comes, but I'm actually picking the Bears to win this game. I really am, because Kirk Cousins, like Denny Green said, he is who we thought he is. He is who he is. Kirk Cousins will perform one week and don't perform the next week. And Kirk Cousins don't perform well against the Bears, and he definitely don't perform well in the cold weather. Monday night on the lakefront is going to be a tad bit chilly, and I think the Bears win this game.
Okay. Hey, Christian Jones said the Bears not scoring 17 points with Nagy calling plays. Hey, so I have the Bears winning. Not the Bears. I had the Vikings winning 31-17. Jay has the Bears winning 27-24. Right? What you got, Guy?
Slanty. Here we go. Okay. Minnesota's defense is not lights out. Kirk Cousins is a system quarterback. Thing about it is they got the work in Mr. Magoo offense, where they try some stuff and it actually works, but it's kind of within the scheme of things. You have a team that basically walks around and gets 26 points a game. What I find with those teams is even when they're inept, they still can find a way to score. The problem that I have with the Bears, and I'm gonna make another caveat. I think Justin's gonna, I think Justin might have 300 yards passing, but unfortunately, I don't think the Bears can score with them. So I'm picking 30-24 of them purple dudes.
Because I'm gonna tell y'all the most interesting thing, and now that we at this point of the season, I'm breaking down like stuff that I need to see going into next year.
Right.
All I want to see is just Jaylen Johnson against Justin Jefferson. That's the
That's
only
gonna
thing
be
I'm looking.
nice. Marquee.
That's the only thing I'm looking at. That's the only thing I'm looking
Hmm.
at Monday night. I don't care nothing
Right.
about the offense. As much as I love offense, wide receivers, I love all of that. All I want to see is Jaylen Johnson against Justin Jefferson. That's all I want to see.
Hey, but
That's
you
all
know
I want
what
to
though,
see.
Jay? Here's the interesting thing about the Bears, which just kind of blows my mind about certain things. A lot of times you look at these games, and for all intents and purposes, we're saying, "Oh, the Bears aren't going to score 17 points." And logically, if someone says it to me, I'm like, "Okay, you're right." But you still got to play the game. And a lot of time with nuances. Remember, we were all texting, and I think a lot of people don't know this. We text a whole lot, like during games. I mean, we're football junkies. We watched the Chiefs and Chargers game, and we were just lighting up our phones, and we just talking about how sleepy it was. And no sooner than Plank had the last thing, all of a sudden it was like touchdown avalanche. But it just to me, what really tripped me out was how easy both of them scored. It wasn't necessarily that their defenses is bad; it's how their offenses are structured, how they're able to create wrinkles to get guys free to make plays. And we don't have that in our trick bag. I mean, Bernard called him a narcissist. I think that'd be disrespectful for narcissists because narcissists actually have a possibility of actually being as
They
good
actually
as
got
they
a
think
game
they are.
plan. They actually got a
I
game
think
plan.
he dresses up as a narcissist for Christmas, but he's really a paranoid schizophrenic. You know, so I'm really gonna be. I won't be shocked if they score a lot of points because I just think that sometimes things happen. But I believe that Minnesota has more to play for, and per a man, I think they might get out there and do their thing. But if the Bears win, like I said, I'll take this A and be happy. You know, this L and be happy. But 4-9 right now, we playing for pride, and we trying to play for what do we have in place right now that we can go forward with next year.
Okay, and I know Plank scored, unless he said something
We
different.
already
Plank is
know
yeah
two to
2-0.
nothing Bears.
2-0.
Right. I think Quick sent me some stuff, but he never did send me his score, and I didn't get a score from Tammy. I
Oh,
think she
happy
left.
belated birthday, Quick! Quick had a
Yeah, that's what I
birthday.
say. Happy
Was it
birthday,
yesterday or
Quick.
the
Happy
day
birthday,
before?
Quint.
Yeah, that's
Yesterday. Yesterday,
yesterday.
I
Yeah,
think it
that's
was.
why Quick couldn't make it. He was on come on the broadcast tonight, but Quick like, no man, I'm about to celebrate my birthday.
That's why I had
I
that
ain't
shot.
mad
It's
at
for
him.
my man.
I ain't mad at him. He all right.
Right.
He a good
So
dude.
hey, we looking at Monday night. If nothing else changed, the Bears. Matter of fact, it's going to be two games on Monday if everybody
Yeah,
go
the
as
Browns are
scheduled.
playing. They've been
The
moved to Monday
Browns are
night
playing, I
or
believe, at
Monday.
5 o'clock on
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah. And 2 games on Tuesday. I'm
Two
in
games on
NFL
Tuesday.
heaven right now.
Oh my God! It's like
Sunday,
man.
Monday, and Tuesday. Oh my God. I'm great. I'm great.
All right.
I'm great.
Hey, so
Yep.
as far as we got our predictions out as far as this game, but a little bit beyond the game. I mean, what are we playing for as far as this game? Because we can't be playing for a W. Is there anything else? What is the motivation for guys at this
Pride.
point in the season?
Pride.
Intel.
Pride.
Intel. As
Pride.
well,
Right.
if you yeah, pride and I would say
Pride.
Intel. I mean, we can't say Nagy and we can't really say the organization, but I'm talking about per man. Guys looking around, knowing who's going to be there next year and who will probably be there next year. What can we do? We need to, and I think, and I really do believe a lot of times we look at how dysfunctional things are, and guys out there like, let's see, Cabo San Lucas. Okay, day when we get out of here, this last game, that next day, me and the wifey or whoever is flying out. I think a lot of them guys really do give a damn, and I think a lot of them who know that there is a real huge possibility they're going to be back next year. They're like, I'm playing for you, and let's go up and roll the dice and let's play and see how we look. And then we can assess it. Because now what happens is, I mean, think about it. Yeah, you have coaches, you got general managers, you got all this dysfunction and stuff. But I always call the players like the eye of the storm. I don't care how you used to play. I don't care what type of coaching you are. Bottom line is on that day, these players are in the eye of the storm. All they really have is each other. The only person they can really trust is that guy next to them. So when they get out there and play for some pride. Just like you say, you're gonna play for some pride. But we also want to play and see what our strengths are and what our limitations are. And if there's any limitations, hey y'all, let's get together around these like January. Let's take about a week off or so. January, let's do like Rice. Let's hit the hills. Let's go out here, Justin. Come out with my guys here. Come out with Mooney. Come out with Daz. Let's go out to a field in Miami somewhere and just run some routes. Because people don't realize that a lot of Super Bowls aren't won in the preseason. They aren't won in practice. They won in the offseason. Because I used to see guys like that you guys see all the time. The top flight quarterback and wide receivers, they way off somewhere in California somewhere, and it's just maybe two or three of them, and they're working on timing routes. And you just don't know, man. When you got a guy 6'8", you can't see over him, and the quarterback got to let that thing go, and he got that feel, and he knows in like all of January, I've been running routes with this dude, and I know if I let this ball go at this time without seeing him, I know he's going to be there.
Right.
So yeah,
Hey,
they are playing for pride.
yeah. Hey, Jay. One of the closing things I want to ask you. I just thought about one of the stats you read about the sack totals for the Vikings. Is there a concern in this game with us possibly we having Larry maybe Borum out, Wilkerson just coming back, may end up starting, and he's been out several games. Is there a concern about, even though their defense is ranked pretty low, they really do get after the quarterback though? Is
They
there a
get after,
concern about this?
yeah, because they get after the quarterback. They do. They get after the quarterback. They got 41 sacks on the year. Uh, like we said, Larry Bourne, we don't know if he's gonna play. Elijah Wilkinson just called up off the COVID list. And then you got Tevin Jenkins, who's a rookie, uh, might make his first start at the left tackle, which is protecting Justin's backside. So we got a lot of issues going on right now on offense, and with this whole the COVID protocol, and we don't know, and they say laser. They did a Zoom with all the coaches today, and they say laser looked the worst out of all of them. They said Desai looked okay, Tabor looked okay, but they said laser was looking kind of sickly.
He's frosted.
So that means that you got Matt Nagy calling plays, and this could be ugly, but at the same time it could be. I'm just such an optimistic. Like,
And I'm glad you like that.
Will he cater to this kid's strengths? And the last couple of weeks, Justin has been pretty good. Well, not the last couple of weeks, but last week when he came back, he was good at going through his progressions. And if it's not there, he ran the ball. And when he ran the ball, he got down on the ground. He avoided the big hits. So that's something that could be big this week. But the Bears need to run the football this week with Montgomery and Herbert and Justin Fields being able to do what they do, because this Vikings team, they're not that good. They're not that good. They hanging around because the bottom half of the NFC is not that good. You got the big four, and after that, you got a whole bunch of hanger-ons, as I call them. So yeah.
The interesting thing about that, Jay, that analogy is the NFC, the bottom half, as far as the people in the hunt, are pretty bad. As far as in the AFC, the people in the hunt are all like
pretty
9
good.
wins.
They're pretty good.
The hunt are like 8 to 9 wins, right? Which seriously, you would say actually in the hunt. But in the NFC, the people that are in the hunt,
they got 6 wins. They got 6 wins.
Right.
And you in the hunt.
Hey, B, can you bring back that quote that Kristen Jones said? We got to read that, man.
Okay. The last
I've been watching Kristen Jones on the board, and I'm listening to some of the stuff. I was like, man, he said Mike Shanahan, his son Kyle, went to Baylor, learned their offense, and ran Baylor's offense for RG3. Nagy should have done that with Justin. That's coaching. I can't agree more, because you know what? There's certain things, even if it doesn't work, what happens is, even if you don't run the offense, you get to look at nuances. Like, I mean, Jay's a receiver, and he knows that, because Jay knows that he likes the ball at a certain spot. It's a sweet spot, like a can't miss spot. Like if you're running like a back shoulder fade, it's like, okay, there's a certain communication that you have with your quarterback that's kind of like just exclusive to you guys. To whereas, like you say, like for example, you might be on the line and you might have a guy like a cornerback on press. And then all of a sudden you start going to cadence and he step off a yard. Y'all working in the summer. You guys have probably talked about it. It's like, man, hey, we about to run this 7-yard go right now. If he pressing you, what I want you to do is dip in, and I want you to come this way or whatever it is, or I want you to run a slant if he goes this way. If he comes off, I got the back shoulder fade. By your third step, that ball gonna be in the air. So by the time you get to that 7th yard, when you do this, it's gonna be there. There's so many different nuances, and I think people kind of don't understand. They look at guys throwing footballs and catching, thinking it's easy. Man, it's timing, man. And if they don't get
That's
that,
that's why
it's bad.
that's why that's why
What you got, Jay?
uh, that's why the communication with a wide receiver and a quarterback is so great. And
The
that's why
marriage.
a marriage, you're exactly right. Which is why I said it last year on this show last year when I
Hmm.
talked about receivers running routes.
Hmm.
Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, they stuff is so good. It's so good. It's
Right.
almost it almost like make you and I think one of y'all sent me that video where Ocho Cinco was talking about how
Yeah, he
Devontae
started
Adams
crying.
it makes you want to cry. It makes
People
you
don't
want to
understand that.
cry.
They don't
It makes
understand it.
people don't understand how good that is. It makes you want to cry. That dynamic is just so great. But to win in this league in the NFL, which stands not for long, to win in this league, that's what you gotta have. That's what you gotta have. And people don't understand that, man. They don't
And you
understand it.
got more of these too. And
Okay.
like even on defense, like I said, what I see less and something that I said that I think people didn't catch. I'm one of them people who I've been studying football all my life, and I guess because I'm more of a cerebral guy. I ain't saying I'm smart. I'm saying cerebral. I mean, stuff sounds good, but I look at nuances. One thing that impressed me about Tevin Jenkins in his very first game, I'm sitting out here like, man, that dude wide. He coming in. He coming in. What did Tevin do? He stuck out that left arm. He let everybody know, look, this is my guy right here, but he coming. I'm getting him. People do
Te-
not realize the communication portion of it is so essential. The communication keeps your quarterback off his back.
if y'all go back and look at the film from the Green Bay game, Tevin Jenkins like first 15 plays, they
Yeah.
were actually pretty good.
He was dog walking dudes.
They were actually pretty good. But then once coaching adjustments came in, they was like, okay, you know what?
I think
He
he's scared to
actually
make a
can do
mistake
this
then.
one-on-one thing. Let's see if we do this and we do this, how it's gonna fare. If y'all go back and look at that game, his first 15 plays were actually pretty good. But
Okay.
after that, it is
Okay.
what it is. It's all about coaching. It's all about coaching, man. It's all about
Okay.
coaching.
Okay. Hey, thank you everybody for watching us tonight on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you. We're about to shut down the show for tonight, and we'll see y'all Monday. If there is a game on Monday, we'll see y'all after the game. Roughly about, since it's a night game, we'll probably come on about 15 minutes after the game. And if we
Hey,
get a
don't cry,
chance,
y'all. Tammy will be back.
give us. Yeah, Tammy will be back. Plank will be back, and Jay, it goes real good. We get Jay on the field
It all
commentary.
depends.
I don't know.
Right.
Right.
It all
Hey,
depends.
peace. Yeah, nice evening.